Moving on to the erosional and depositional work of wind. The wind mainly forms three landforms. First is mushroom rock. As the word says, mushroom, the erosional work of wind leads to cutting and eroding of the rock in a form that it creates a landform which looks like a mushroom. How is this landform created? Now, first of all, what we see in desert areas is that there are big rocks present on the ground, and the wind that blows here in these areas carries sand and dust particles with it. These sand and dust particles, they basically do the erosional work. Now, because these dust particles and sand particles are heavy, they usually do not flow on a higher altitude. They flow in the areas near the ground only. So the major erosional work they do is basically near the surface only. So when they start hitting the stone or hitting any barrier which is coming in front of them, they start eroding it. So when the erosion starts, the erosion basically begins with the presence of soft rock or hard rock. There are layers of soft rock and hard rock in a single rock. So that now that you can see that there are layers of hard rock and soft rock in a single rock, it is not possible that there will be a layer, there will be a presence of layers. The whole stone could be of hard rock, the whole stone could be of soft rock. This is just a possibility that we are showing here. So now when the wind starts its erosional work, so it starts eroding basically the areas near the ground. So it starts first eroding the soft rock areas. It starts cutting it from its edges. This diagram is two-dimensional, otherwise you could have seen that the erosion work is happening on all the sides, but in this diagram it is visible from only one side. But the erosion work starts first from the soft rocks because they are easy to erode, but it also starts in the areas of hard rock also. Slowly and gradually, when the erosion work moves on, the stump or the surface, we can say, of the rock, it starts getting thinner and thinner. And ultimately it leads to the formation of a mushroom-like structure. Sometimes it also happens that the ground or the surface on which it's standing, it gets so much eroded that the thin layer cannot hold the heavy part, the heavy roof on which is standing on it. So it falls apart, and the whole stone it comes down on the ground, and then the erosion work starts over that also. So this is how the mushroom rock is formed. The second kind of work or depositional work the wind does is sand dunes. We are all aware that in desert areas there is coarse soil grains which are known as sand, and these sand particles, they blow with the air every time because the wind there blows too much, and these sand particles which blow with the air, they get collected at one place, leading to the formation of sand dunes. Now sand dunes are very unique formations because these sand dunes, they are not stable, they are not available at one place all the time. They keep on moving because they are not solid formations, they are formations which are continuously moving with the movement of the air. So whenever the wind is moving, the whole dune, it flows off with the wind, and then it finds a new place. So these sand dunes also are a very important erosional work of wind. The next formation that the wind does is a loess. Loesses are nothing but the sand or the dust particles that are flowing with the wind. They get settled in a large area in form of dust sheets. This area which is completely covered with dust, or this dust sheet, is basically known as loess. So these are the three major formations that the wind does. Now moving on to the next source of erosion, sea waves. Sea waves are very strong agent of erosion and deposition because they are continuously in movement, and their strength is very strong, very much. Now, sea waves basically form six formations, major formations. So let us start with the first formation. The first one here is a cliff. A cliff is formed when the sea waves, they tend to hit the banks, and they tend to erode the whole area which is touching them or which is coming in their way. So they erode the whole place which is coming in their contact, and they tend to make it flat and a cliff like formation. So this is how the cliff is formed. There is another type or another way through which a cliff is formed. Sometimes what happens is that there is a possibility that there are layers of soft rock and hard rock again here. So the sea waves, which as I told you are already very strong, and they tend to do a lot of erosional work in these areas. So because of their strength and because of their continuous movement, they tend to erode the areas, the land of soft rock. So this soft rock area is getting eroded first in comparison to this hard rock. So this whole soft rock area is getting eroded here with the power of the waves. With this erosion, this hard rock has lost all its support. So now what it does is it breaks down because there is no base or there is no support for it. So it is going to break down from here and fall down. This whole piece will fall down, and then what will be left here is this straight, or we can say a plain wall like structure, which is known as a cliff. The second formation the sea waves do is a cave. A cave is formed whenever we see that there is any breakage or any crack in the rock which is coming in the way of the sea. So the continuous hitting and continuous pressure on this crack by the sea waves, it tends to widen the gap, and it leads to then to a formation of a cave-like structure, which is known as a sea cave. The caves are again also formed with the possibility of presence of hard rock and soft rock. Sometimes it happens that the soft rock layer is present in the hard rock, so the soft rock layer gets eroded first and creating a cavity or creating a hole in that area, leading to the formation of a cave. Now this cave, the erosional work does not stop just at the formation of the cave only. It because it is continuous, so it keeps on hitting underneath the cave also, so it keeps on eroding further and then leading to the formation of sea arch. Sea arch is formed when the waves, they break the other part of the cave also, and then leading to the formation of an arch like structure through which the water is flowing to and fro. Then again, the erosional work does not stop only here. The erosion, as we have told you earlier, that it is continuous and it is moving because the waves have a lot of strength. So the erosional work, it again hits the arches, and it tend to break the roof of the arch, leading to the formation of two pole-like structures. So this leads to the formation of a storch. A storch is formed when the roof of the arch is eroded, and then leaving only the two poles or the two pillars remaining in the area, standing in the water. So these were the erosional work of the sea waves. Now moving on to the depositional work of the sea waves. In the depositional work of the sea waves, we can count. First is beaches. They are very common. I'm sure most of us know what a beach is. Beach is a depositional work of the sea waves, that sediments that all the rivers have been carrying to the sea and are available in the sea, and the sea waves, they carry the sediments to its banks, and it deposit all these sediments to this area. So beaches are formed by the depositional work of the sea waves. The sediments that all the rivers are carrying to the sea, these sediments are further then carried by the sea waves towards its bank, and in this area, the sediments which are carried by the sea waves, they are deposited. These sediments are basically sand particles or coarse grains of soil. So this area where the sediments are deposited by the sea waves on the banks is known as a beach. Now the next formation that the sea waves do by the depositional work is a lagoon. A lagoon is formed kind of in the same way the beaches are formed, but sometimes what happens that this deposition that the sea waves do, it is not done in a proper way, and it is kind of settled away from the beaches, and in the type in the kind of a sandbar, leading, suppose the deposition is done here and here, and further on when the deposition continues, this deposition tends to form a small lake-like formation where there is presence of sea water only, but it is cut out from the main sea. So this formation is known as a lagoon. So these were the formations of sea waves that the sea waves make with the erosional and depositional work. The next factor that we are going to talk here about the erosional and depositional work of ice, or we can say glaciers. Glaciers are frozen rivers where the fresh water is present in a frozen form, and these glaciers, or the ice that we are talking here about, it is not stable. With the change of the season, they tend to get melted, and this molten water, it moves, but the movement here in comparison to the rivers or the sea waves here is very slow, because there are chunks of big icebergs in it. So the movement that these glaciers do are very slow. So it's not like they are flowing continuously, but still they do some kind of depositional work again, because they also carry some amount of sediments. The formation that they make with their depositional work is known as a moraine. So with this we come to the end of the chapter, that different factors or different sources, they do with their strength their work continuously on our earth, and they tend to change the surface of the earth. They tend to affect our lives with their creations and their demolitions. So we cannot count that these forces are not so strong. They are very strong, and they have the strength to change the whole formation that we see around us. And they have been doing their work continuously since millions of years back, and they are continuously in their work, and we are seeing and we will be witnessing these changes in future as well. क्यों इरशाद सर आए हैं? इसलिए नहीं